So this is the demo session for the PostgreSQL DBA. Okay. So what should you know before you join this course? Okay, so this is just an introduction session. Okay, a short introduction session about the Postgres and about the course, how we will complete the course. Okay, and about me as well. Okay, so what? Let's start. Okay, about the course. So what is the prerequisite to take up these courses? You should know about the concepts of the database and the SQL commands. Okay, because the SQL is the common language for every RDBMS. Okay, so this is also an RDBMS, just like Oracle, SQL Server, MySQL. So there are already a lot of RDBMS in the market. Okay, so it is one of the another RDBMS that has now been getting very popular these days. Just like I would say last 5 years more precisely, from 2015. So you should take up this course if you know the concept of the database. Concept of database is what is table, what is index, what is tuning, what is backup and recovery. You should know what is backup, recovery, what is tuning, but definitely we're doing tuning and backup recovery anyways. But at least knowing tables and indexes, I think, what is sufficient actually. And who should take up this course? You should take up the course if you want to become a DBA, a PostgreSQL DBA, data analyst, or data scientist. Okay, this is not for developer course. This is not a developer course. Okay, and what all you will learn in this course? You will learn the architecture of the Postgres, how to install and configure Postgres. Ajay, you want to say something? I think you raised an hand. You put can your questions on your chat window. Okay, if you have it. I think everybody is able to hear, right? Except Ajay.
Yes, yes, yes.
Ajay, I think can you? Maybe trying logout and login might help. Okay, so coming back to it, that you should know the concepts of the database. You should know the SQL commands, and this is for the DBA. So you'll know architecture, installation, file management of Postgres, table spaces of Postgres, files of the Postgres, how to move the files, the backup recovery of Postgres, how to take a backup, how to recover the backup, then moving of the data from one database to another database, then performance tuning of the PostgreSQL database, and replication. Okay, replication is kind of a standby server, and where you can build your standby real-time replica of your Postgres server. And any upgrades and migration, okay, not precisely, but just an overview of the upgrade of the different versions of the Postgres, how to upgrade and how to migrate to Oracle. No, from not from Oracle to Postgres. We're covering the prospects of Oracle to Postgres migration, because that is general trend nowadays in the market. Okay, why Postgres? Why people are going for Postgres? Why Postgres is getting popular? Okay, so first of all, it is a cost is the main major factor. Okay, I also started my career as an Oracle DBA, but if I compare with Oracle, definitely Oracle is very feature rich database. Okay, so Postgres is still in a initial stages. I'm not sure who are from Oracle background here. I'm just giving you an example. Postgres is a very initial stages, less like when Oracle was there in Oracle 7 or 8. Okay, when RAC was not there, lot of automated features were not. There's a very initial stage when Oracle was there, some around 10 to 15 years back. Then the same stage, somewhere right at look around Oracle Postgres is right now in these days. But the advantage with Postgres is lot of company is a free. First of all, it is free. It is cost is free. Even the what I say, even the code which is available, that is also free. The code availability is also free, and So you can get the code, you can develop your own code, you can add some functionality to it. So that is a major point for Postgres. A lot of vendors are there in the market. Okay, we are anyways not concentrated on particular vendor. This training is moreover on the community's version, that is the free version of Postgres. Okay, how to take up that version of Postgres. But there are a lot of vendors in the market who develop different tools on Postgres, on the usage of Postgres, and a lot of tools are being developed, a lot of modification they can do on the top of Postgres, just because it is free. Code is free and the server is also free. So the major factor to choose Postgres for the company is only cost. Okay, don't consider it is more feature than SQL Server or Oracle. Okay, it's not a feature rich database. Okay, it is free. That's why it is being getting very popular. But if it is free, then why not MySQL? Okay, why not? MySQL is also free in some areas, right? But Oracle has purchased the Oracle provides the enterprise edition for MySQL, but still it is available free as well. Okay, community's version is still free for MySQL as well. But there are some advantages with MySQL. Okay, first of all, it provides a JSON support not available in other RDBMS over MySQL. It is very much suitable for CPU based execution for more complex queries. So performance wise, it is much way above than MySQL. Okay, if somebody is using MySQL, somebody is a MySQL DB right now. Okay, I'm also not sure about MySQL. I've not worked on MySQL, but it is said to be technically very better than MySQL, like in based of performance. Okay, performance, it is very good for CPU based queries which are maybe group by clauses, such clauses, more complex queries. So for such thing, my Postgres is much better than MySQL. It provides a geographical object support, not sure what MySQL provides or not. Supports LOB data, provides replication standby server. I think MySQL also provides replication. Master slave configuration is very popular in MySQL. Okay, it supports transaction and asset compliance. It also provides SSL security for connection and row level security. So whatever connections are coming to your database are secured. Okay, they are SSL secured, and it is provides row level security as well. So row level as well, it is secure. Okay, so at row level also, it is a secure kind of a database. Okay, so this is about Postgres feature, why companies are moving to Postgres. So then next slide is also very similar slide where I'm just giving a comparison for MySQL and Postgres. I think this is already being covered. Generally, what is said is uh, MySQL is generally used for web-based projects. Might find MySQL in uh, lot of in lot of projects where it is normally a websites where some kind of uh, entries are required to the database, but not much, just like inquiries, because MySQL is said to be more very easy to use. But Postgres has some complication because it has some security features also. It is kind of good also, but it has some security features as well as compared to MySQL for connection, just like SSL security. Then you have to add a connection entry actually for each user. So that is also bit complex to use, but MySQL is said to be very easy to use. Okay, it's said to be very easy to use. But if I say Postgres is works better in case of if you see the fourth one, it is works best in the complex queries, in more the analytics query. Okay, in more of the analytics query, works well with the BI application, and it also supports the JSON. So if your company is looking for such thing where it needs a better system than MySQL, which can provide us better performance than MySQL, somewhere around which can have more data into it, more complex, with not just normal select statements, not just only websites, but more complex websites where maybe pictures are stored, where a lot of other scenarios where pictures are searched, kind of lot of other things where it's needed, more complex queries are there, then you can propose a Postgres solution. Okay, so if your requirement revolves around um, complex procedures, integrations, designs, data integrity, saving cost, and not around high speed and easing of setup. Okay, so then you can always choose for Postgres. Okay, it is appropriate for large systems. So no, high speed, I'm in this high speed, I'm comparing with Oracle and SQL Server, not with Post MySQL. It's appropriate for the large system where data needs to be authenticated and read write speeds are critical for success. Okay, so no comparison with Oracle and MySQL Server. Okay, if your organization is good, is want to ready for make the payment, then definitely you can go for the Oracle. But if you are want to save the cost, now if you want to save the cost plus you want a bigger database, okay, maybe more than a, more than 1 TB or something, okay, because generally people go with 1 TB or 2 TB only with MySQL. Okay, if you're going, there is no criteria, but yes, it is generally the trend. Okay, so it is if you're going to, if your database size is might be more than 1 TB, you're assuming would be in the future, and the more complex queries are being utilized, then you should go with a Postgres rather than with the MySQL. Okay, so about the history, I think it started with two students, and the name, initial name was Ingress. You might have heard about the database Ingress. Okay, then they released Postgres was version in 95. That was known as Postgres 95. Also, they released in the same next year 96 that version called 6. Okay, so 6 version. Now from 6 to 12 version, they have released more than 150 plus versions. Okay, but they have a major and minor, major minor than other versions as well, 6.1.2, 6.3.5, just like, okay, just like any other versions. But now they have restricted only to major and minor after 12. I think right now it is 14 version, that is the latest. 13 I think. So it is 12.1, 12.2, only major and minor. Okay, now the number of versions, you will say it will increase very fast, because now they are not increasing the complexity, they are not making it a longer number, not like 12.1.2.3, not 3 to 4 prefixes, only one prefix, only one major and one minor, just like 12.1, 12.2, 12.3. After 12.9 it would be 13 version, then 13 in the same way. Okay, so I think right now 13 is the latest version. Okay, so we would be doing, trying to do on Postgres 11 in this training, and then we can later on try to migrate to 12 as well. Okay, so in 2017 and 18, it was the most growing database award was given to PostgreSQL. Almost 50% of Oracle and MySQL migrated to Postgres. So this is all, this is from the Postgres community site. Okay, from there I picked up this line. So I don't have any authenticated proof for it, but they are saying that more than 50% of the databases of Oracle and MS SQL are getting migrated to Postgres since 2015. Okay, so there are a lot of third-party vendors like Fujitsu, OpenSSG, and PG experts, but the leader is EDB. So EDB has collaborated with Postgres and provides an enterprise license. So this, remember this word. If you're really looking for an EDB support, if you're really looking for enterprise support in your organization, you can go with EDB. And there is one more, I think fourth, no, fourth quadrant or second quadrant. Yeah, second quadrant. I think fourth quadrant is a different company. It's second quadrant. These are
Second
Second
one.
quadrant and Crunch Data.
Ranch Data, I'm not sure. Okay, these two companies, EDB and Second Quadrant, are providing the enterprise licenses for Postgres. Okay, so they will provide the support just like your Oracle or any other MS SQL or something. But if you don't want to pay for it, you can definitely download from the Postgres community site. It would be, features would be less, but definitely you can have, you can do your major, minor, mine, all your work can be done. Just like for DBA, you need to make more efforts, kind of. Okay. Okay, so there this is the list. Okay, there's a list of users that are using it. Social networking sites, MySpace, Sony, DBS Bank, Skype, Instagram, TripAdvisors, Guardian. Even this Amazon Redshift database is also based on uh, Postgres. Okay, there are a lot of databases that based on this. You can just get a code and you can develop your own code, add to some to it, and just release the database. It is free, right? Nobody can stop you. Okay, Grofers, I think everybody's know about Grofer now, especially in the lockdown, right? Everybody's ordering online. So there are a lot of lot of side, you can say varied diverse business, which with pictures. I think there's a national, this Instagram, okay, this is for photo sharing, right? And TripAdvisor, the travel information. So you can say, even you can see geographical support is there in this weather service met office. Okay. Okay, so this is the architecture diagram for Postgres. This is just about introduction. Just let us have a brief on the architecture. If you are a DBA, you will be able to understand it. If you are not a DBA right now, you will not be able to understand, but don't worry. We would be covering the architecture once more, okay? Because in the short session might be difficult to understand the architecture right now, but we will cover it once the actual session starts. Okay. So you can see over here, there is a postmaster process, and then there's a shared memory. On the green are the different processes that are running. Okay. And on the blue boxes or blue cylinder shape objects, these are files. Okay. Okay, so postmaster is the listener kind of process and also a manager kind of process. So it is listener, it is listening all the connections to the database that is coming in. So whenever somebody is trying to make a connection, it will try to make a connection to Postgres. So postmaster. Now postmaster will initiate one process that would be knowing as the Postgres or backend process that will hand over the connection. That will hand over the connection to the that will it will hand over the, and it will start a process that is known as postmaster backend process, and will hand over the connection to the shared memory. Okay, hand over the connection to the shared memory to the cluster. Okay, so this is the cluster memory, database cluster memory, which is the shared memory, all these different memory pools. So whenever your Postgres cluster starts, this memory gets occupied in this part of memory, or this part of pools get occupied in your RAM. These processes also start in the background, or the linking has is made to the shared memory to this memory. Now let us understand. I make a connection. There is a table named school. Okay, let us take a small example, school. I will not go with the update or something. Okay, let's take an example of school. I just say select star from school. Okay, I first make a connection. So when I make a connection, I will provide the port number, um, the name, the port number where postmaster is running, the name of the database which I want to connect, the username which I want to connect, the password, okay, which I want to connect. Okay, so what all I have, maybe I'm just opening a notepad. Okay, so I will provide the port number, DB name, username, and password, host name. So this would be the information, different information I need to provide. Okay, so this port number and host name would be for the postmaster, where postmaster is running. So once postmaster gets the connection, and it gets the connection, and it authenticates the user with the database name and username and password, it starts with a process known as the Postgres process or a backend process. So this backend process gives the connection to shared memory. Okay, now this shared memory got a table known as the, what it got, a select star from school. School is a table. Now, shared memory has a pool known as a shared buffers, which contains the data in the cache. So this is kind of a cache. Okay, if you understand the normal terms, okay, when you work on Word or MS Excel, you're not worked on the disk, right? You worked on the cache on the RAM side, just like a cache. So somebody put a query, select star from EMP. So what it needs an EMP table. It will search for that in the shared buffer. If it finds it, it is great. If it doesn't find it, it will pull the data from the, so this mark should be this side, right? It will pull the data from the data files. Shared memory will pull the data from the data files. Okay, it sometimes write also to the data files. Okay, let us put double cross mark. Now this shared memory gets the data, select star from EMP. It will return the data to the Postgres process. Okay, and this Postgres process will return the data to the user. Okay, now this postmaster doesn't comes into a picture. Postmaster comes into the picture in the initial stage when your connection is made. So it'll just hand over the session, hand over everything to a Postgres process. Now Postgres process should take care of, or backend process, also known as backend or Postgres process. Backend means background process kind of. Okay, just like you went to a train, right? Went to a station, somebody hands over the ticket to you. Now you you manage with your flight, right? Kind of. So before checking the data, does the session will not do parsing steps like semantic and say, yes, it will do everything. It will do everything. I'm just giving a brief overview. Okay. Just brief overview. This is not the actual architecture. We'll do all these things, but this is all done in the within the shared memory. Okay. All your semantics checks of the syntax checks, semantics checks, parsing, all done in the shared memory. Okay, so this is all in the shared buffer itself. So this is not okay. So this is quite easy to understand. Okay, this is where the data is, shared buffer. So shared buffer is getting the data from the data files, and the same way there is a val buffer as well. Okay, if you're already a DBA, you might be understanding what is the val buffer. So val buffer is known as the write ahead log. This is the full form of the val buffer, write ahead log file. So you can see this is the val buffer. Write ahead means you are writing ahead. You are so this is storing the changes. Okay, now let's come to the next command. Somebody do you the definitely the prerequisite of the training is that you already know SQL commands. Okay, so I'm not talking about, you should know what I am doing. Okay, so I say select update school. Okay, I say update school, set what is it, maybe set subjects is equal to set subjects, or subject is equal to, somebody want to update the subjects where maths or something. Okay, where roll number is equal to 10. Okay, this command is clear. Now you can see this command is an update statement, is updating the data. It is updating the data. Okay, in this way I was selecting the data, so I didn't use write ahead log in this. So I went to the shared buffer, I did all these checks, what Anuj is saying. I do the all the check semantics, I parse it. We'll study what is parsing. The tuning will study what is parsing, what is semantics checks. Okay, so it will do all the parsing and everything, and it will get the data from the shared memory, that is EMP. And if it has it, it great. That doesn't have it, get from the data file. Now in the same way, same, now already a connection is made, so same user is doing it now. Okay, same user is doing it now. Okay, so its user is same, so I need not to go to the postmaster again. I need to, okay, I go directly to the shared memory. So shared memory, same thing happen. It will check whether this has whether this school is there or not. If school is there, it is great. Okay, if it is not there, then the same thing, it will get it from the data files. It gets from the data files if it is not there. Okay, now it data files and it returns it back to the shared buffer. Okay, if it is not there, so assume it is there, so I remove the data file from here. Now update happened. Now this update happens not on the data file, on the shared memory. Okay, this update happens, I fire the update on the shared memory, and the entry of this change is goes to the val buffer. Okay, what is this change? So change is, this change happened, right? So this record, just like you understand, a record, a change record is something, uh, just like assume right, there is a school itself, and now in the school there is a board, right? You have seen the board where it will, maybe not a board, maybe some register there will be entry, right? That from 2000 to 2005 this was the principal, from 2005 to 2010 this is the principal, then 10 to 12 or maybe 20 this is a principal. This is a log entry, right? Okay, this is a log entry. Okay, very similar to redo log files in Oracle, uh, very similar to transaction log in Postgres, in SQL Server. I don't know what is the term in MySQL. Okay, so in the same way, every database has a log file. Okay, every database. If you're already a DBA, it is easy to understand. Any DBA, maybe Oracle, SQL Server, any DBA. The same way, this is there. So what it will contain the primary key, maybe roll number, the old subject, maybe the old subject was science. Now the new subject, that is maths. Okay, name of the table, school. So it'll keep an entry over here. So whatever changes are made to your database are stored in something in a pool in Postgres. Okay, so this is not something a new technology or any rocket science about it. This is something which is, this structure has been made 20-30 years ago when the database was first created, RDBMS. I think, I don't know, it was DB2 or Sybase, that first database to be created. I think it is there since 1970s. Okay, I think Oracle itself was developed in 80, but there was some database before Oracle as well. What I'm not sure about all these things, but yes, what I think so, it is been 1970s. There's nothing new. Okay, if you are doing your DBA course for the first time, so just I want to tell you, a record of every change is being would be recorded. Every change would be recorded in the database for your backup and recovery purposes. Okay, to see what all changes are made to your database. Okay, so this record, just like in this school name of database, then 10 roll number, science and mathematics, before and after. Okay, so this just like, if any post is changed, like a station master is changed in a train in your railway station, then they would be making some entry like this, right? Old record, old data, new station master, old. Then when he will gone as well, old and new, just like a prime minister, whatever it is. So just like he's just storing that. This is in the val buffers. This is in the val buffers, and this is containing the data. So not many pools, just like Oracle, very couple of pools only internally. Okay, and management is also very less, very not that complex like Oracle. Okay, so val buffers is writing to val segments. Now this is a file where it will write. Okay, this is a cache. It will not store it forever. Okay, there would be some events where it will write, and shared buffers update is made, right? Now this update is made in the shared memory, not in your data files. So this has to write to the data files after some time, right? So it will write to the data files after some time. Now these are all the processes that is supporting all this functionality of the database. Just like BG writer is writing from shared buffer to data files, val writer is writing from val buffers to val segments. Just like there is stats collector that is collecting stats, archive or log writer to write log files, error log files, warning messages. There are vacuum processes. Vacuum is a background process that is used for maintenance of the database. A check pointer is a trigger. Check pointer is a trigger that initiates the writing of val buffers to val segments. Okay, if you're already an Oracle DBA, you might be looking at it very similar thing, right? Very similar, because Oracle, I don't know, Postgres has first studied Oracle, then made this database, this Michael, but you'll find a lot of things very similar to Oracle. Okay. Okay. Okay, so now this is a database cluster. Now this concept is a bit different. Okay, database cluster. Okay, this concept is very similar to if a SQL Server DBA, and for Oracle it is very similar to container databases. Okay, so this concept is that database cluster. Now this all shared memory, postmaster, data files, everything is shared by a cluster. So now this cluster can contain multiple databases. This cluster can contain multiple databases within it. So I will first task when after installing Postgres is to create a database cluster. So now database cluster by default will come with 2-3 databases that were generally template databases. You will not going to use it. Then you will create your own database. So in a cluster you can create any number of databases. I'm not sure what is the limit. You can create any number of databases. Now all these databases will share the resources, of the shared memory. Okay, we'll share the resources about the shared memory. In this shared memory, they will share the resources. Okay, so this is how it is working. Okay, this is how it will work. So all these cluster resources will share the resources in this all this cluster will share the result. So when I create a database cluster, it will create 1-2 databases. That's a template. Then I can create another database. Or so database is a collection of objects. You understand, database is a collection of objects, of tables, indexes, and sequences. So just like in a company, there can be finance department, there can be a HR department, then an IT department, then an sales marketing office. Just like they don't interact much with each other, right? Sometimes they interact, but lesser chances they will interact. So you might create different databases for different, just to give a different logical entity. Anyways, they are all sharing the same resources. Okay, so this is the brief introduction. Okay, if you're a DBA, then you will understand it. Otherwise, it is okay if you're not completely 100% understand it. Okay, it's okay. We'll cover this architecture once more. Okay, so this is about the Postgres, and I was earlier an Oracle DBA. Okay, so since last 3-4 years, I would say, the database in my company is also migrated to Postgres. So not much actually, I've not given much time, but last 3-4 years I'm working on Postgres as well. Okay, I get some questions from what is it, Mohammed as well, Anuj as well. Okay, Anuj. Okay, so Anuj is asking, I think these are all advanced questions, Anuj, but okay. Undo management is there in Postgres, but there is no different undo table space in Postgres. Okay, undo, what does it does is Postgres doesn't delete the data physically. Okay, if you're not understanding this, it is okay. Somebody is not understanding, is not a DBA. I think he's asking more specific Oracle questions. He's an Oracle DBA, might be. So so it is not deleted permanently, not deleted in the first instance in Postgres. It is just like it shows delete, but it stays there in the table. Okay, so what I say, the previous data, undo is just a previous data, right? So this previous data will stay there. Okay, will stay there for some time. Okay, we'll stay there for some time. Then we can manage, just like undo retention time, for 15 minutes kind of, we can manage for some time. The previous data also stays to provide a read consistency. Okay, if it deletes or updates, it just deletes and updates for the users, but internally it doesn't delete and updates. It's mark it as delete, it mark it as delete. Update also mark it as delete and insert a new statement. All this data transfer from, I think it happens in the block only. It happens in the block wise only. It is not that it'll pick the data on the row. In the block is known as a page in Postgres. That is the Mohammed question, right?
Thanks.
Anything else? Any other question for anybody about the code?
Yes,
So about, okay,
yes, this is Varun.
okay, Varun, just give me a minute. Let me tell you about, maybe you have the same question. So about the course, what I'm doing is I would be preparing a Postgres machine. Okay, maybe on my